I'm going to take a deep breath here, and I'm going to get ready for the trolls. Nostalgia is killing the NBA. 90s basketball, Michael Jordan and Kobe, was not as clean as y'all think it was. Y'all forget that Jordan left the league for 2 years. Y'all forget that Kobe quit on his team in the playoffs and did not shoot the basketball. So all this Kobe, Jordan, oh, he's not this, he's not that. That is propaganda. Every great player, whether that's Ant, Wemby, Bron, Steph, this, that, they compare him to 40 years ago. The rules weren't even the same. They were not even the same. Nobody celebrates these new people. So why would anybody want to be the face of this league? You're going to get shit on every network for not being somebody from 40 years ago.
Legs, I tell you what, you played in the 90s, so you know this. Do you believe the players in the 90s, compared to today, are they more or less skilled, capital S, 2 L's, ED, are they more or less skilled than today's players?
No, there's no comparison. There's more skilled players in today's game. There's no question.
Are the players today, are they more skilled? I'm not saying they're better. Are they more skilled than players of yesterday?
Today's players are certainly more athletic, more skilled, shooting, handling. The one thing that they are not, they're not as smart.
Scarcity of three-pointers, more physicality, actual competition. There's so much about the 90s basketball that makes ex-players and fans adore the era. Basketball was a different beast in the 90s with a focus on physicality and skill rather than just three-point shooting. It was an era where teams played gritty defense. The game wasn't just about statistics. It was about pride, competition, and the battle on the court. The evolution of the sport has led to a more finesse-driven game, but many argue that the passion and intensity of the 90s has been lost along the way. Players back then didn't just play for contracts or social media influence, they played to win and leave a lasting legacy. The NBA's current struggle with declining ratings from 2024 to 2025 has sparked a debate about what made basketball so special in the past. Fans and former players alike are questioning whether today's NBA has the same level of competition and entertainment as it once did. Scott Williams, a three-time NBA champion with the Chicago Bulls, recently highlighted this difference. He reminisced about the days when physical defense was not only allowed, but encouraged. Johnny Bach was our defensive guru, and the first thing he told me when I first got to Chicago was to hit anybody who came across the lane, and if you miss anybody, you'll come sit next to me. That's a pretty easy assignment. That's what 90s basketball was, Williams explained. The rules of the game at the time allowed for a level of physicality and competition that simply does not exist today, or maybe exists but is easily unnoticeable. The 1990s NBA was a battleground where only the toughest survived. It was an era shaped by legendary rivalries, hard rock defense, and a level of passion that made every game a must-watch across television. The league was packed with dominant big men, superstar scorers, and defensive enforcers who made every possession a war, with every game feeling like a battle for supremacy. Teams like the Chicago Bulls, New York Knicks, Indiana Pacers, and Detroit Pistons thrived on defensive intensity and physicality. The Bulls, led by Michael Jordan, dominated the decade with 6 championships, but they were constantly tested by other powerhouse teams. Compare that with today's NBA, where super teams dominate, and many regular season games feel like glorified scrimmages. Back then, superstars had to earn their championships. They had to prove themselves through years of hard work and sacrifice. There was no easy path to a title, and no superstar was forming super teams just to win rings. Players stayed with their teams longer, building legacies through perseverance and loyalty. The concept of player loyalty has eroded over time. With constant trades and superstars frequently switching teams, the emphasis on long-term commitment to a franchise, a staple of the 90s, is now a rarity in today's league. Former Lakers center Vlade Divac, who played in both the 80s and 90s, prefers the era he played in. Personally, I prefer the one from the era when I played. Of course, younger generations will argue otherwise, but that's precisely the beauty and charm of basketball, Divac stated. His perspective reflects a common sentiment among former players. The biggest difference between 98's basketball and today's NBA is defense. The 98's was an era where hand-checking was allowed and driving into the lane meant absorbing hard fouls. Today's NBA, on the other hand, is soft. Any physical contact is an automatic foul, making it nearly impossible to play tough defense. The result is a game that prioritizes offensive statistics over defensive grit. changing the very foundation of what once made basketball a physically demanding sport. Kevin Garnett, a player who bridged the 90s and 2000s, made a bold statement about today's NBA. If I'm being honest, bro, I don't think anybody in this generation could have played 20 years ago. And I'm being 100% honest. 20 years ago, you couldn't get to a triple step back. We had efficiency back in the day, my dude, and it was so physical. The toughness and intensity of the 90s made every game more engaging.
The skill level has gotten better with this generation, but I don't think overall it makes you a better player. I think they don't play as much basketball as we did. They work out individually. We play 5-on-5, and our creativity for the game was a lot better in our era.
Players had to fight through aggressive defenses and earn their points the hard way. That's what made stars like Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Charles Barkley stand out even more. They weren't just skilled athletes, they were warriors who battled through adversity and showed resilience every time they stepped on the court. One of the biggest criticisms of today's NBA is the excessive use of the three-point shot. While the three-pointer was a strategic weapon in the 90s NBA, today's game revolves entirely around it. Teams routinely shoot 40 or more threes per game, making the sport less dynamic and rather extremely predictable. Scott Williams commented on this play style. We didn't score 130 points. We didn't shoot 40 threes a game. We didn't go to the line 15 times. But for me, I wouldn't trade our time for the world. The emphasis on three-point shooting has removed many of the fundamental aspects that once made basketball so enjoyable. Where are things like post-play, mid-range scoring, and hard-nosed defense? All gone. The beauty of basketball was once found in its variety, inside scoring, mid-range jumpers, and post battles. Today, the game is primarily centered around perimeter shooting, leading to less diversity in offensive strategies. One common argument in favor of today's NBA is that players are more athletic and skilled. However, former players like Kenny Smith disagree. Today's era of people, they always say, "Oh, we're more athletic," Smith said on the Mark Jackson show. I don't believe that they are more athletic. How many point guards have been in the dunk contest? I was in the dunk contest 3 times. I came in second once to the great Dominique Wilkins. I don't see a lot of point guards in it. Are you more skilled? I don't believe so. Do you have better tricks? No. You just have tricks that are in vogue. The perception of increased athleticism may stem from advancements in training and technology, but the fundamentals and heart of the game remain questionable. Perhaps the biggest reason why 90s basketball was better is the passion and intensity that players brought to the court. Every game felt like a battle, and players truly hated losing. Today, players are building social media presence. Kevin Garnett pointed this out when he said the locker was too grown. It was too much of a fraternity. You understand? It was a different vibration. David Stern did a great job of taking all of the physicality out of the game. Players in the 90s weren't just competing for stats or social media clout. They were fighting for pride in championships. They played with heart, dedication, and an unrelenting drive to win. What do you think? Like and subscribe for more.